this is my first time ever doing a story time video. So I hope it turns out good, and I hope I don't really mess it up, because I don't got anything that's written down for me to remember what I gotta say. And why I write things down is because I'm very forgetful, and so I go back and forth a lot. So let's just get right into this video so it's not too long. I had a seizure when I was a senior in high school. It was 2009, and it happened out of nowhere. It wasn't your typical seizure, like where you find a person falling on the ground, shaking violently, vomiting out of the mouth, or foaming. It was weird. So let me bring you back to that day. It's 2009. I was a senior. I was dating a girl at the time. I think it was in my English 4 class, and I was reading a book. I was reading a book, and I was reading a very graphic scene, like not sexual, like literally leg breaking scene where the leg was breaking in the scene. I'm not gonna say the book because I don't want to be criticized. And all of a sudden I remember feeling really sick, like nauseated. It was bad. Back then I had a severe phobia of throwing up. I had gotten sick prior when I was 3 that caused that phobia to happen. I'll explain that another time in a different story time video. But I'm terrified of vomiting, and I just felt like I was gonna vomit, and didn't start freaking out. It was one of those moments where you knew in your life, okay, I have to stay serious, I have to stay calm, I gotta focus. So I looked up from my book, and I stared forward, and then I looked at the door. I was like, how am I gonna get there fast enough to prevent myself from vomiting all over the floor? Because where my classroom was it was part of the cafeteria, but it was like in a corner, and the bathrooms were like all the way in the middle, and it was a big building. So basically I'd be running, and it was lunchtime for some people, so I'd be running and vomiting there throughout the cafeteria with everyone watching. But luckily I didn't. What I ended up doing was I said, okay, I won't be able to make it. I'll close my eyes and try to relax, and maybe that will calm my stomach down. So I closed my eyes, and I felt my head lean back, and that's all I remember. And then I would hear something in the back of my head. Voices. I heard, Amanda, like an echo in darkness. If you ever had that, if you ever seen a movie or anything like that, where a person described it, like you see a black screen and you hear their name being called, and slowly they start seeing a light kind of flash from the darkness. That's basically what happened. I heard someone calling my name, and I remember replying back like, what's happening? Everything okay? Like, I was cohesive in my head, but my eyes, I couldn't get them open right away. And then finally I heard someone say Amanda really loud, and I got startled out of it. And I was like this. It was, my eyes were all freaking out. Everything on my desk that was on my desk prior was on the floor. And this is from my point of view. I'll tell you what happened later. People were saying, are you okay? Are you okay? People were all around me, and I responded with, I'm okay, what's going on? Why are you freaking out? But the words didn't come out of my mouth. I could just hear it in my head. They kept asking, are you okay? Are you okay? And then 2 of the guys who were there were twins. One of the twins, whenever he had lunchtime, he would come into the class to kind of hang out. Like I said, the teacher was totally cool with this stuff. And they were studying to become the people who were in the back of the ambulances. It's a specific name. I can't remember what the name is. But they were studying to do that. They went to, like, after half of that school period, they would go to that training hall kind of thing. So they knew immediately what to do, luckily for me. And they were like, okay, let's get her out of here. And they pulled it out, and they somehow got someone all the way to the nurse's office. And my school is big. This nurse's office is all the way across the school. Someone went all the way there, raced a wheelchair back. They got me up into the wheelchair. I had no strength in my legs. I found it very odd, because later, I just woke up from it. I didn't know what was going on, and I looked at my hands. I noticed, this is something I don't think happens to seizure victims, but I noticed it. There was blood in my nails, like as if I was like scratching or something happened where I got blood in my nails. But it wasn't a lot. It was like little tiny bits of it. And I'm not much of a picker unless there's something really itches. And I just was freezing. I was so cold. And when I sat down in the wheelchair, something went through my head. I said, I'm about to die. And it wasn't one of those negative thoughts. It was just like a realization thought you get, like, I'm gonna die right now. And then I told myself, no, I'm not gonna die. I gotta make it through this. breathe. And I did, and I tried talking to them. I finally was able to talk, and they said, we have to get her to the nurse's office, and you can take it two ways. You can go through the cafeteria, you can go through the back way. And I said, let's just go through the back way. I don't want people questioning us when we go through. By then I was cohesive enough, I guess, to talk. And they listened, and the moment we got out of that and we went to the back way, the wind blew by, and I just felt 100 times better. Like, the wind was like my medicine, and I just felt 100 times better. And they were racing me down to the nurse's office, and my nurse, I never liked her. She's kind of always been mean and always kind of pushed a lot of the kids away. We really needed it. I've had some severe issues physically throughout my life, and that nurse, out of all of them, ignored them when I needed attention the most. But right then, she was on the phone like she usually always was. And she said, should you call an ambulance? Have you ate today? Do you need water? Those two guys stayed with me the entire time. And they got me a water. They got me a cookie. They thought it was a low blood sugar, which I've never had a low blood sugar problem in my life, ever. I've always eaten enough. I always eat chocolate, but I'm a healthy weight. Back then I probably wasn't a healthy weight. I was like 95 for 5'0", but I looked fit. Like, I had the muscles because I was going weightlifting a lot, and I was just fit, and I didn't feel sick. I guarantee you, after I explain this, you can tell it's a seizure. Well, instead of calling the ambulance, because we couldn't afford it, we were really poor. My mom and my sister came by, picked me up, covered me in a blanket, because by then I was like, have you ever been so cold where you just start shivering and your teeth start chattering to the point where you can't talk? That's how cold I was. But it was May, I believe. So in Florida, it's 98 degrees. I shouldn't be cold. They drive me to the nearby walk-in clinic. Now I don't get out of the car, my mom runs in. They tell her to go to the hospital with me. By then, my girlfriend has caught up with us, because one of my good friends who was sitting next to me had called her, thank God, otherwise she would have freaked out. We went to the hospital. They took me in immediately, which was strange for the hospital, because that hospital isn't good either. We lived in a really crappy area with not very good services. Not good at all. And they took me in, they took my blood pressure. My blood pressure was fine. They took like 6 vials. I'm not kidding, 6 vials of blood out of me. And that thing hurt. I don't get, when I get hurt, I don't get bothered by pain very easily. I'm very, very well with pain tolerance. But man, that hurt. Hurt a lot. And they left me there for like 3 hours without giving me anything. I went through, I guess, like some kind of scan. Wasn't an MRI. I think it was a CAT scan. And they found nothing. And then they ordered me for 3 weeks past. I would have to take an MRI 3 weeks later. 3 weeks later, when it makes no difference, when there's nothing there anymore, when there's no proof of a seizure or anything being wrong, they asked for the MRI. Either way, I took the MRI. They obviously didn't find anything wrong, because it was, 3 weeks later. And what ended up happening was, when I had closed my eyes, everyone had said to me afterwards that I was shaking violently, like shaking. Everything flew off of me. My earphones from my iPod flew off of me. My heavy book, which was like about this big, flew onto the floor. Everything else that was near me flew away. The table, which those school tables have like metals, was shaking. I apparently turned a very weird green color, like a nasty, vomity, almost like color green. And then I turned pale like death. Around that time when I said to myself in my head, I'm dying. That's the color I turned. I turned a pale white. And apparently I was very cold, like cold as ice. Like I was dying or something. And that's all I was able to describe it. I didn't vomit, I didn't foam at the mouth. But there's cases with people who have seizures where they're kind of small seizures, where they don't start vomiting, but they do feel like that sometimes. But it was a seizure. I haven't had one since, and it's 2017. I haven't been to the doctor since, but I was sent to a neurologist after the MRI. And that's when I started going to a psychologist, because I told her that I was hearing voices. So that all leads to that. That's actually how I found out that I was schizophrenic. And hearing voices wasn't normal, or seeing things weren't normal, or being as severely depressed as I wasn't normal. And if it wasn't for that seizure, I wouldn't have found all that out. I probably would have found it out the worst way with I was an extreme cutter back in my past. But yes, I did have a seizure. I did survive it, even when in my head something told me I was not gonna make it. I made it. I fought it. And now every time I get the feeling, like any nausea feeling, I'm not afraid of vomiting anymore because other incidents. But every time I feel like I'm gonna vomit, or if I have nausea feeling, or my head starts feeling like lightheaded, I start freaking out. I start thinking I'm gonna have a seizure. And I'm even to the point where I'm a little afraid of being by myself, because what if that happens when I'm by myself? When no one is there to call me out of my head, or to stop me from shaking, or to help me afterwards. What do I do when I'm all by myself? And I have other concerns about being by myself, hence my mental disorders. If I get really badly dark in my head, things can turn sour pretty quickly without my control. So yes, I'm a survivor of a seizure, but with the bad hospital not taking my MRI, the bad timing for the hospital not taking my MRI, I couldn't be diagnosed with it. Instead, I was diagnosed with, I can't remember, they gave me a piece of paper, I didn't keep it. It was something, a fainting type of spell. You don't shake violently when you have a fainting kind of spell. At least, not that I've personally ever heard of. But yes, I had a seizure. I survived, haven't had one yet, but I try to, whatever I do, I try to keep calm and not let stress build up inside of me. Whenever I watch something that's disturbing, like legs breaking in movies, I try to always watch a horror movie with someone I know and that I'm comfortable with, just in case that was the cause of it. I'm not entirely sure what is the cause of it. No one really knows the cause of seizures other than mental, physical problems in the brain. But since I didn't have any of those problems, it was one of those spurts that could happen. It can happen in the future. I can be a serious, seizure victim. Maybe when I get really older, that's gonna be a thing for me. So, yes, I hope that you enjoyed my story. That really did happen. It was real. It was pretty traumatizing. It was scary. It was flat out scary. One of the scariest moments of my life, and I've had plenty. But that one still traumatizes me to this day, because I'm a very active person and I'm often alone, so you never know, you gotta stay strong. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to see more story times about different parts of my life, I'm gonna do some about my episodes, my schizophrenic ones, and my other episodes. I will do them eventually. I have a lot of delusions that are very interesting that happened when I was a child. That's like, does that even happen to a person? And I'll get to those one day. So I hope that you got this video. I keep saying that. I love you guys to death. Thank you for watching. Please only put down nice comments below. I'm not doing this to make things up. I don't like making up stories, and if I do, I'll write them and put them in books. I'm not gonna put them on the internet to get false, whatever you want to call it. I don't even look for sympathy. I just want people to know that you can survive anything. So I love you guys to death. Like, comment, and subscribe, please. If you want more story times, feel free to ask. If there's anything specific, like any childhood weird things that happened to me, or my schizophrenic ones, feel free to also ask for those. Thank you, guys.